Hello, everyone. My name is Joe DiMarini, joined today by one of the Fly Guys, Cam Klein, as well as always, producer Kyle. Welcome to Broad Street Hockey. Today, we're going to continue our discussion of Broad Street Hockey's 25 under 25 ranking. We've only got two to go. And before we get into all that, though, you know what I'm going to say. Smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, ring that notification bell, go Birds. And as always, head over to broadstreethockey.com for more in-depth coverage, opinions, and all things Flyers. Cam, how about that Eagles game, huh? How about that?
It was awesome. It was awesome. I kind of had a feeling once Hurts came back with that touchdown drive after the fumble in the second half, I kind of thought like, okay, I think we have a game here, and still did not expect it to end the way that it did. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
awesome. It was awesome.
in-
Yeah, great weekend.
incredible ending. And you know what else is awesome? Our number two ranked prospect, recently selected sixth overall. That is our guy Porter Martone.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that pick when they made it? Like James Higgins was on the board. I know a lot of people were like, we need a center, but Martone is there. Do we do
Mhm.
we take the better overall prospect? Do we draft for position? Like, what was your thought process uh, at the draft?
Yeah, I loved it. I'm a big believer in you can't draft on position, especially not a rebuild, because those things you're going to be able to trade things to fix certain position things as you go. You go with the most talented player at the time, and at that time it was Porter Martone. So I loved it when they first did it, and I understood, the reservations that we needed a center, yada yada yada. However, at the same time, I didn't love Higgins as it was. I liked him, but
Oh,
he kind of stalled out a little bit his first year in college hockey. He did fine, but you kind of wanted him to excel a little bit, which he didn't, which made me a little bit hesitant. So luckily, Porter Martone has not made it yet to the NCAA. We'll see this year how he does. But yeah, no, I loved it at the time. Yeah, I love the positional rank or the talent based pick. Absolutely.
yeah. I over on the Broad Street Hockey podcast with Brian Gilbert, like
Hmm.
we both said Higgins all day, but if you've got Martone there, you have to have a really serious conversation about who you're going to choose because
Yeah.
Martone, he brings like an element that the Flyers don't have. Yes, he's another natural right winger, but he did play left wing with the men's
Hmm.
team at Worlds, so he can do it. And I personally, I think he might end up there. But he scores a lot of goals from in front of the net. He's a really good, like great hockey vision, great playmaker, and he's big. Which if Matvey Michkov is going to be your star player at 5'10", you kind of need something to balance that out.
Hmm.
Um, he had a great season with the Brampton Steelheads, 57 games, 37 goals, 61 assists, 98 points, then 6 playoff games with 4 goals, 5 assists, and 9 points. I can't say his stock has like changed since the draft, but at the draft, he was one of the most highly thought of, highly regarded prospects. In some circles, he was a first overall consideration.
Hmm.
And it was kind of a shock to see him fall to 6. Just ask Keith Jones. For anyone who saw the Flyers release a video about the draft and the lead up to it, Keith Jones leans over to Danny Briere and says, "I can't believe Martone was available to us at effing 6." Like he's like, "I can't believe he fell to us."
Yeah.
So they were stoked to get him too.
Yeah.
But
No.
you mentioned it already. He's going to the NCAA. He's
Hmm.
going to Michigan State.
Yep.
And what do we want to see from him this year?
I mean, you want to see him step in and just kind of excel. Michigan State was one of the better teams in hockey of all in the NCAA last year. So it's a very, very good program for him to be involved in. So you're happy about that. But you kind of want him to just go right into it and crush. I believe he's also with there with the other drafted prospect they have, Shane Visagi, as well.
Mm-hmm.
So to see them kind of go together would be kind of cool. It's nice that they have a little bit of chemistry, or at least they have a little bit of connection here in Philadelphia. But yeah, I given how he's played so well in the OHL and how he was absolutely so dominant in basically a very, very competitive developmental league. I was struggling to think of the word developmental for 30 seconds there, but
It's
glad I
Monday.
found it. But yeah, no, he killed it there. So I expect him to do very well in the NCAA as well. And it's going to be much more of like a professional kind of organization or a professional style of hockey as well. So he might struggle a little bit earlier on, but I think ultimately what we want to see is another just step in his development and him to just kind of fit right in and honestly be kind of ready to go by the end of the season,
Yeah,
ideally.
I mean, I was gonna say we should be prepared that maybe he has a slow start. Like there's the adjustment from the OHL to
Mhm.
against guys that could be 3, 4 years older than you.
Yeah.
Like in the OHL, he could get away. He's 6'3", 210. Like you can just kind of like a comedic sketch. You can put your arm out and hold a guy's head, and they can't reach you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I think if he does well, you're right. There's a good chance he signs with the Flyers down the stretch in
Mhm.
April. It's going to be some logistical stuff like does his team get knocked out of the playoffs early enough to get in a game in the NHL? Um, does he need another college season? Um,
Right.
we don't know yet, and hopefully he makes it. It would be really cool if the Flyers find themselves in a playoff spot for some reason, and all of a sudden Porter Martone steps on the ice, and they've got like a super awesome winger to help them out down
Yeah, he
in
gets
the
playoff
postseason.
experience before even a full NHL season. Yeah, that'd be that'd
Mhm.
be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool. But I wouldn't. I mean, the playoff part maybe be a little bit more of a stretch. But I wouldn't be shocked
Yeah.
again if you possibly see him toward the end of the season. I believe Michigan State I think was number 2 ranked last year at the NCAA. So they are up there. They're most likely going to make the playoffs. But you never know. I mean, college
Mhm.
hockey is weird. Penn State went I think to the Final Four last year. So anything can happen. Anything can happen. He
Well,
might be available.
Penn,
You never know.
Penn State's got Kevin McKenna this year, so I could almost expect them to be in the Final Four again this
Oh
year.
yeah,
They've got quite the team
yeah.
built and ready to go. Um, Sorry, Buffalo Sabres fans, if you're listening, because I know they're owned by the same people and they seem to be more invested in the Penn State team than they do in the Sabres. But
Oh, yeah, yeah. One's
anyway,
one's basically an entire city itself, and it's a college
that
campus, so I can't
that's
blame them
true.
necessarily.
That's
But
very true. But for Martone, how important do you think he is to the rebuild? Like, where does he fit, and is he going to be a part of the next great Flyers team?
I mean, like, yeah, obviously, right? That's why you take him at 6. That's why he's number 2 on this list, and I think we'll get to it, but the lowest ranking I think was like 5 or something like that out of the most of the writers. So yeah, ultimately 100%. And what's cool too is I in our own. I believe it was Thomas who wrote the article earlier this year. What we learned watching Porter Martone. I might have been a different article, but I remember someone was pointing out basically that he himself, talking about his reasoning going into Michigan State and wanting to be ready for the future and caring more about his development further down the line. And he even mentioned, 5 to 10 years. So the fact that he's already himself looking that forward ahead too, just just bodes really, really well. So he's on the same page. He understands kind of what his role is expected to be with the Philadelphia Flyers, and he's taking it very, very seriously. And he's listening to the professionals who were there before. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, he's absolutely supposed to be a part of the future and the rebuild. He's supposed to be a big part of it. I see him right up there with Mitchkov, honestly.
Yeah, and you're right, he's using the same language that Keith Jones and Danny Briere are using. It's like, we want him
Yeah.
to be the best player he can be in 5 to 10 years, not
Mhm.
next year, and then he comes out and says the exact same thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Alright, everybody's on the same page." I know there was some consternation early, "Oh, we already saw one of our top prospects go the NCAA route and then decide not to sign with the Flyers."
Yeah.
He who shall not be named.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's a much more open line of communication between Martone and the Flyers, so that's good to see.
Yeah.
Um, and we can touch on the rankings since you brought it up. I had him ranked 3.
Mhm.
Um, I had Trevor Zegras ranked 2, and my thought process behind that is that Zegras had back-to-back 60-point seasons in the NHL. I know that was 2 years ago, but like I got to give like some pretty serious weight to
Yeah.
a player who has done it against men at a professional level over a guy who just got drafted.
Oh, yeah.
But his highest rank was 2. For a lot of people, his lowest rank was 5. Where do you think you would have had him?
I probably would have put him right where you were, where you put him for the same exact reasons with Zegers over top of him.
Mm,
Because again, I think I mentioned it before, but when you're making these lists, you got to think about there's the 2 major weights, which to me is potential and also the experience. And Zegers has played in the NHL at a very, very high level, which we have seen. There is concrete evidence of it, and we just haven't seen that from Martone yet. But for him to be as high up as he is without even having been stepped into college hockey yet, he's only 19 years old. Um, it just bodes really, really well too. So it's I don't think it's any detriment for him to be at 3 instead of 2, but I'm with you on that too. I probably would have put him
yeah,
3 just because again we haven't seen it yet, and knock on wood, it's going to be great. But yeah,
I think he can get there too. I mean, as far as upside, he's interesting because early in the draft cycle, he was drawing a lot of Kachuk comparisons because he was dropping the gloves, he was big, he
big
was
dude. Yep.
big dude,
Mhm.
putting up points. But by the end of the draft cycle, going into the draft, for example, the EP, the Elite Prospects Draft Guide, they were comparing him more to Mikko Rantanen and Blake Wheeler than they were the Kachucks.
Yeah.
Now, I would take any of those guys as an outcome because, like, most people don't really think of Blake Wheeler as like a high end guy, but for a few years there, he was just unbelievable. So, and
Yeah.
Mikko Rantanen is Mikko Rantanen. I would
Yeah.
love that guy on my top line. So,
Yeah.
I see it as a positive because it means that Martone is able to kind of be a chameleon and shift through these different roles of whatever's
Mhm.
asked for him. If he needs to be the Rantanen play driving point guy, he can do that. If he needs to mix it up a bit, he can be a more Kachuk kind of guy.
Yeah.
Some people might criticize that as a lack of focus, but I just see it as being able to succeed in different roles, and that's always a valuable thing to have.
Yeah, and I think like the article we just met or the interview we just mentioned with him talking about 5-10 years down the line, I think that's another testament to that exactly. That he's kind of willing to be coached and be coachable and
Mhm.
be put in different positions to kind of help the team out, which we also mentioned about with Trevor Zegras in that video we did earlier with him too. So it's nice that there's going to be like-minded people there doing the same thing. And I see the lack of focus thing. I get that too, but I think there are certain players, right, who could be special that they could play multiple roles. They could do multiple things. No, I don't know if he's going to be the Bryce Harper of the NHL, but Bryce Harper didn't play first base before a couple, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was. And he's pretty damn good at it. So to me, there are certain players that are special. And again, it's his size and his skill set combined that make it so that he can kind of have that chameleon ability. And I'm glad that that you mentioned Randy and then that you brought the fact up that EP brought him up because I was going back and I was rewatching the watch along with Thomas and Jacob that did earlier just to prep for this. And one of them put it very to me, they put it great where they just said his presence is demanding. And that's exactly how I feel about when I watch Mika Rantanen play. And I think that's the reason why he didn't work in Carolina was because in Colorado and in Dallas, they kind of had this more drag the puck in, take your time, dish it back to the blue line kind of entrance rather than a dump and chase kind of chase the puck kind of thing. And Rantanen excels there because he's able to just draw the defense toward himself to create opening lanes and allow other guys to excel, which allows him to just kind of break through when he needs to. And Porter Martone was pretty much doing the same exact thing in the video that
Mhm.
they were watching. So I think it's a great comparison, and it's a special type of player that can demand that much away from the puck. So it's
Yeah,
exciting. It's really
and
exciting.
and Martone apparently has like leadership skills on top of this. So I'm going to pose one last question to you: Porter Martone, future captain of the Flyers, yes or no?
Why not? Yeah, I
Why
mean, like,
not?
dude, like, if he's a fighter too, like, every whenever I see a Kachuk, I think to myself, like, they would fit so well in Philly, and I could see them being a captain, and yeah, honestly, yeah, because I feel the same way too, because every interview you see of him as well, yeah, he seems older than his age for sure, so yeah,
He
I could see
carries
it.
himself well. He
Yeah.
carries himself well.
Yes, he does.
Yep. All right. Well, that is Porter Martone, everybody. We've got one more left. If you've been keeping up, you could probably guess who it
I
is.
wonder,
Uh,
I wonder.
I wonder. It could be anyone. But once again, thank you for watching Broad Street Hockey. Uh, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, ring the notification bell, go over to broadstreethockey.com, and we'll see you in the final video wrapping up our 25 under 25. Thanks for watching.